How you can scare people by not using logarithmic scales. I'm telling you, this happens all the time. You got to be prepared for it because it's a big flipping deal. And we're going to show you a good old-fashioned stock index chart. This is from Macro Trends. We're going to go back to the Dow, going back 100 years. And we're going to say, whoa, man, look at that. If I didn't invest here, basically 1982, I didn't make hardly any money. I only got from 71 to right there, to basically right there, 848 from 70 from over the previous was that 60 years from basically 70 years from 1915 was 70, 1982 it was 850. I had to be invested there, or else I would have missed all this ramp up right there. Look at that. Look at that. Well, no, we go to log scale. Interesting. Not quite the same, is it? Not quite the same. It's a lot more of linear, almost going, I mean, not linear. Well, I guess in this way it would be kind of linear, but it's more going straight to the northeast. From the southwest to the northeast, just straight. You can see it's just choppy, but it's just going up and up and up to the northeast. Again, we go to the black log scale. Flat, 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 then boom, an explosion in the 1990s, it looks like, essentially. Boom, goes up like that. So we go back to log scale adjusted for inflation. Oh, wait a second. That doesn't look nearly as good. If we don't do log scale, it's still the log scale, the logarithmic is what is very misleading. If you don't do the log scale, you're like, whoa, man, look at that. I didn't really need to be in the market at all if from July 1915, I only had, 1,800, and then July 1981, I only had 2,800. This is not within dividends reinvested, by the way. But still, you can see, and if I would have missed that, I would have missed this growth, dude. Oh, growth, look at that. And if we do the log scale, I say, that's not necessarily true. From 1915 to 1982, it still grew. You doubled your money, essentially. That's not the, literally, we could say 1946 to right there, 82, you basically made no money on a price to price, but you did if you reinvested dividends. Anyway, but what I'm saying is you still see some growth. From here, we had 1362 in the Dow, and then we had 7981 in the Dow. So you can see what I'm saying? It's a whole lot different than not doing the log scale. Because log scale looks like there's nothing, nobody made any money. Look at that, much different. So let's read exactly what the terminology of the difference is, because I think it's good to know. A logarithmic price scales are a type of scale used on a chart plotted such that two equivalent price changes are represented by the same vertical changes on the scale. I'll get in that in just a second. They're generally used for long-term perspective. They differ from price scales because they display percentage points and not dollar price increases. So let's go back. So what you'll see here is they go from 2,500 to 5,000. All right, that's a log scale. So 0 to 2,500, 25 to 5,000, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 50. See how it starts shrinking the size of the units? See that? So 25 to 30 is smaller than 20 to 25, even though they're both $5,000 increments. 0 to 5,000 is huge. 0 to 5,000, look at that. From 0 to 5 is gigantic, right? But now 20,000 to 25,000 is tiny, and it gets progressively smaller because it's a percentage, not the price essentially. So if we go to log, you're going to see, if we go to non-log, each $5,000 represents the same exact, let's just say an inch. So 0 to 5 is an inch, 5 to 10 is an inch, 10 to 15 is an inch, 15 to 20 is an inch. But if we go back to log, actually, let's go back here. 5 to 10 is 100%. 10 to 15 is 50%. 15 to 20 is 33%. 20 to 25 is 25%, and so on. So you see what happens here. From a percentage perspective, which is all that matters when it comes to investing, the log scale is what you need to see. All you care about is percentage. It's kind of like if you don't adjust inflation, and then we go to inflation. Well, we're already doing that here. If we don't go to inflation and we don't go to log scale, like, whoa, look at that, man. If I wasn't invested here, I made no money. It doesn't, no, you have to be inflation and you have to do a log scale. The percentage is what matters. The actual dollar amount does not. Because if I start with 1 and I go to 2, I get a 100% gain. 2 to 3 is a 50% gain. 3 to 4 is a 33% gain. The percentage is what matters. The dollar itself is secondary because, I made $1. Made a buck on a 1, that's 100% gain. Made a buck on 4, that's only 25% gain. Not quite the same. I want to show you something else too. So I'm looking at this guy here. Actually, let's go off the logarithmic. And we're going to say you got, it doesn't matter what your net worth. We'll just say we got a guy with 4 million net. We could say 250. It really doesn't matter. Because this is a linear scale. And you're going to say, oh my goodness, no one has any assets. So basically what we're saying here is if you are at the age of 50 to 54, what is your net worth as a percentage of everybody else's out there? Well, if I got 250,000 net worth, including my home equity, I'm in the 59% net worth range. And we're like, whoa, there's 20%, there's 62%. Basically, we're on the same scale, essentially, if you will. That's what it looks like. Now, these guys right here, they're the 1%. We got to get those guys. Look, they're so much further. Look, they're so much further than everybody else. Everybody go after those guys. Go get them. Then we hit the log scale. We say, oh, quite the difference, isn't it? Because, again, 1 to 10 is a 100% increase, or a 10%, 10 times. 10 to 100 is 10 times. 100 to a million is 10 times. A million to 10 million is 10 times. 10 million to 100 million is 10 times. So it's the same percentage increase. The linear scale is the dollar. It doesn't mean anything in this regard. The percentage increase is what we're trying to accomplish here. So this right here, from a dollar perspective, is meaningless. 0 to 5 million is look at that. 96% of the population is under the 5 million range. So to have this a linear scale, we're basically putting a guy with a negative 5,000 on the same plane as a guy with 117,000. That doesn't make any sense. So you just got to be careful, man. Know how these dastardly guys do it, because they're going to lie. They're going to cheat to get you to have fear. Like, oh, we got to get these guys. Just got to be careful. All right, we'll see you. Oops.